with respect, I don't think you addressed my question, which is affirmative action is one thing.
Right.
Racial preferences, preferential hiring or admissions decisions that discriminate against individuals. Diversity and equity and inclusion seminars in a corporation or a university or an administrative structure is another thing. It's about, let me say, and this is not my argument, I'm just making this for the devil's advocate. It's about encouraging dialogue amongst my employees that sensitizes them to the complexities of racial situations in which you could be giving offense, and I'm trying to get it so that people can get along and they can understand each other better. And so I've got a seminar going here. I'm calling it Diversity, Equity, Inclusion. You may or may not like it. You may think it's a bad idea. You may think it's ineffective, but it's not unconstitutional on its face. It is rather my effort to train my employees in a manner that I think is most consistent with the functioning of my workforce. And so why the Supreme Court decided affirmative action was inconsistent with the 14th Amendment. You're now, it seems to me, saying a seminar in which my employees of various races get together and I have a coordinator who tries to walk them through the complexities of contemporary race relations is also unconstitutional, and I don't see that.
Well, I hope I can help you to see it. I'm concerned about the corporations and the colleges and various places where they have set up DEI programs and they have forced attendance at events. And we have many videos and reports of situations where white people have been demonized because they are white people. They have been told that they need to shut up and listen, and it's mandatory, and there's a berating of people because of their race. Sometimes it's their sexual identity, but they are being harassed at times based on immutable protected categories. And what has happened is that there have been some successful lawsuits from white people who have been discriminated against because of things that took place at the workplace that came out of these trainings. And so part of my argument is that there's nothing wrong with employees or CEOs and leaders finding ways to make sure their employees know the civil rights laws. But those protections protect men as well as women. But the DEI and CRT people seem to believe that they can say whatever they want if the person being addressed is a white person. So many of these successful cases have come from people that have openly said, that you are evil, or they have told people that we're letting you go because we need to hire someone from a different group. And sometimes they've named the group. We need more Blacks. We need more Asians. We need more some other group. That is something that's prohibited by our civil rights laws and the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. And so what I argue is that we can have workplace diversity without discriminating against groups. And that ideally, you would not, I don't believe that anyone should be forced to attend some type of diversity training. That if you want to attend, it should be voluntary. And there's been some research, in fact, some of it was co-authored by people from Harvard, that the diversity training, it doesn't really work. It tends to harden people's attitudes. My goal is to bring about an environment more consistent with e pluribus unum, out of many one, where people are working together. They can know the civil rights laws, but they also are reminded that they are there for a purpose. Every organization has a mission. They should be part of a team to further that mission.
That a program doesn't work well, what Frank Dobbins, the Harvard sociologist that you were just mentioning, finds in that paper, doesn't mean that it's unconstitutional.
No, but I'm saying that it's reached the levels of unconstitutionality in many cases. And that's why more and more corporations are getting rid of their DEI programs. And after George Floyd's death, billions of dollars were poured into sensitivity training and DEI programs, and they're quietly getting rid of some of those people. And that can be at their own risk if they don't have something in place to make sure people understand civil rights laws. Anyone can hang a shingle and say that they are a DEI trainer. There's no licensing that takes place. They go to corporations and they have more power than the affirmative action officers that used to give lip service to our civil rights laws and to the Constitution, and they can be very disruptive.
Do you think that if a company were to announce, we're especially interested in recruiting minorities, racial minorities into our employ, and we'll be making an effort to do exactly that while maintaining equal application of our standards, but nevertheless, recruitment, outreach, advertising, a special effort. You see anything wrong with that?
Well, Best Buy is being sued because they have a management training program that only accepts racial and ethnic minorities, and that may have come out of an equal employment
No,
opportunity.
excuse me. I'm not saying that. I'm saying having the objective of recruiting, not having a discriminatory process, but having a goal that says this would be a good thing for our company to have more underrepresented minorities employed here.
No, I mean, my book is not arguing that companies can't be sensitive to their own desire. The owner may want a workforce that looks like America. So it's not saying that you can't do that. It's really pointing out ways that people have done it that's clearly discriminatory through their DEI programs. That for the most part, diversity, equity, and inclusion has been closely linked to critical race theory. And I don't know what you think of critical race theory. It has been implemented in a way that has been very discriminatory against certain groups. And I think that we can do better and we can have more harmonious workplaces by using a different approach. And I do believe that the U.S. Supreme Court decision in the Harvard and North Carolina cases that ended race based affirmative action has clear implications for the DEI programs that are violating the Constitution and our civil rights laws. There may be some that aren't, a lot of them are, and they need to rethink what they're doing. And companies are going to be sued increasingly. There are a lot of lawsuits now. And I think white people, for the longest time, now, I was a political scientist for almost 30 years. When you talked about civil rights, white people thought about racial and ethnic minorities. And I've had so many people that were white say that they didn't know they had civil rights. They don't think of themselves as having civil rights, but now they do. Now they do. And I think that the critical race theory and the aggressiveness of the left has caused white people to sort of become more aware of their own rights and the fact that our Constitution protects all persons and that they are persons too and they have rights too. And as a consequence, more people are stepping up to the plate to exercise their own rights when it comes to the law.
Now, I'm sure you're aware that the Biden administration has issued an executive order instructing the entire federal bureaucracy to embrace DEI type orientation. Do you think that's unconstitutional?
I definitely do. And I also think that he has helped destroy our military because they're so focused on, how many trans in the military. They're having drag shows. There are things that are taking place in the military that has nothing to do with their mission, which should be to keep us safe from foreign and domestic threats. And so, yes, I do believe that the Biden administration is in violation of our civil rights laws and our Constitution. It has no grounding or should not have any grounding in our laws because it has violated so many.